start in a seated position, any comfortable seat, and begin by taking 5 long breaths. So really make sure you smooth out the breath as long as possible so you're getting a little more capacity with each inhale and each exhale. If it feels good, you can begin by breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you continue to hold your seat, begin to breathe in and out through the nose and pull a slight constriction through the back of your throat so you have a little bit more audible nature to your breath. After your 5th breath, release the hands down by your sides. On an inhale, peel the right arm up and walk the left hand out at the same time. Hold for about a breath, and then when you're ready, take the right hand down, walk the right hand out, reach the left arm up and over, and again, hold for about a breath. On the next inhale, reach both of your arms up, and then exhale, take your hands forward in front of you, come into a child's pose, just to kind of reset and ground, and inhale, shift forward into tabletop on hands and knees. Begin to move through your version of cats and cows here, so you can really take this however you want. I'm going kind of a little bit more of a circular motion here, which feels really good to me. So you can decide how you'd like to take that for yourself. After a few rounds of cats and cows, begin to warm up through the wrists. So I show here my 2 favorite wrist stretches to start off with. One is with the fingers facing the knee, and then the other is with the top of the hand down with a rotation of the elbow. So I encourage you to try both of those out. It's really good to have the wrists warmed up and prepared before we begin moving on them. Take as much time as you need there. And then when you finish both hands, tuck your toes, lift your hips, come into a downward facing dog. Allow this downward facing dog to be super fluid, so worrying a little bit less about form and structure here, just kind of move into it. And then when you're ready, inhale, shift forward to a plank, and exhale, press back to downward dog. Take that transition 3 times. See if you can find some evenness through the hands and feet as you continue to move through this. Usually it feels like you have to adjust them first. And then when you finish your 3rd time, settle into downward dog. Take at least 3 breaths here. Just kind of allow it to settle. Make sure that there's a small bend in the knees and a lift of the hips. Now begin to take very small steps forward towards the top of the mat and settle into a forward fold. Again, pull a bend into the knees here. Inhale for a halfway lift, exhale to release back down, and inhale, slowly roll all the way up to stand, reach your arms up, and then bring the hands down to the heart. Inhale again, reach the arms up and overhead, and on the exhale, forward fold, bending the knees every time when you come down for that. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, step back to a plank and hold for a full breath. Now you can bring the knees down at either point here. I actually encourage to do so because we're going to lower all the way down to the belly. Once you get there, take the arms down by the sides, inhale for locust, keep the gaze down, slide the hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, press up into downward dog. Now that can again be with the knees down or with the knees up. Take 5 full breaths when you arrive back in downward dog. So keep that long, smooth breath. And I usually think a downward dog is a really good place to check on the breath again. So always make sure that you're really conscious and aware of the breath when you arrive back here. When you're ready, inhale to look forward and begin again that little tiny walk towards the top of the mat. Settle into your forward fold on an exhale. And then on the inhale, slowly rise all the way up to stand. Again, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, press the palms together at the heart. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. On the exhale, come into a forward fold. This one will be slightly different but similar. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to a plank, and then again lower down to the belly. Option to bring the knees down. Inhale this time for low cobra. Peel the shoulders back, keep the gaze down, and then again press up to downward dog, either through plank or through tabletop with the knees down. When you arrive in this downward facing dog, take 5 full breaths. Now this is where we start to find the form and the shape for the downward dog a little more. Again, I really encourage always to have at least a small bend in the knees here, and try to find a place where you feel that you can actively press out of your shoulders instead of letting the chest collapse down to the thighs. When you finish your last breath, inhale, bend the knees, look forward, step and step, 1 foot and then the other to the top of the mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale to release back down. Inhale to rise all the way up to stand, reach your arms up and overhead at the top. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale to reach your arms again up and overhead. Exhale, come into your forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, maybe jump back to a plank, lower halfway, option for chaturanga with upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. So always in these vinyasas, take the version that feels good to you. So you can really adapt that every time I demonstrate. You can do whatever version feels right. You can also choose to skip the chaturangas entirely. So just keep that in mind. After you take about 5 full breaths, we'll begin to transition here to a new sequence. On the next inhale breath, come into 3-legged dog. Lift the right leg up. On the exhale, draw the right knee across the body and see how close you can get the knee towards the left arm. Inhale, reach the leg back up. Exhale, take right knee towards right arm, towards the armpit. Inhale, 3-legged dog. On the exhale, step the right foot forward for low lunge, and then inhale for standing splits. So shift your weight forward, lift the back leg up, and find some length in your spine. Once you feel satisfied with your breath there, step the back foot down and inhale, come into crescent lunge. I always like to have a little bit of a bend in the back knee at least to start here and make sure the hips are evenly squared forward. After about 3 breaths, take the hands down on an exhale, option for a single-legged chaturanga with the right leg floating, an option to hold for a breath at the bottom as I demonstrated here. On your exhale, come back into downward facing dog and then inhale 3-legged dog with the left leg. Exhale, draw the knee across the body, find your placement. Inhale, reach the leg back up. Exhale, left knee to left arm. See how high you can get it on the arm just to practice. Inhale to reach the leg up. On the exhale, step the left foot forward for low lunge, and then again, shift your weight forward for standing splits. So the top hip is angled down towards the ground here, not stacked over the left. Really be conscious of that. And then when you're ready, step the back foot down, come into crescent lunge. Inhale to reach the arms up and spend a few breaths settling in here. I would say about 3 breaths when you arrive. When you finish your last breath on an exhale, take the hands down to frame the left foot, maybe float the left leg if you want to take that chaturanga. And again, you're welcome to add that hold, or you can supplement either of the 2 chaturangas that we practiced earlier instead of the one that I'm showing with the upward facing dog. Take 5 full breaths when you arrive in your downward dog. And again, make sure that they're long, at least 3 seconds in, at least 3 seconds out. When you finish your last breath, prepare to flow that same sequence, this time really moving breath to movement. Inhale as you come all the way up to stand, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And then inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. On the exhale, come into your forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Go through your chaturanga on that first exhale if you're doing the chaturanga. Inhale for back bend, exhale, downward dog, and then inhale, right leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, take the knee across the body towards left elbow. Inhale, reach the leg up. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. Inhale, reach the leg up. On the exhale, step the foot forward, low lunge. Inhale for standing splits. Exhale, bring the foot down. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands down. Inhale to step back, lower through. And take your chaturanga with your breath. On the next inhale, 3-legged dog, left side. Exhale, take the knee across the body. Inhale, reach your leg up, and then exhale, left knee to left. One more time, inhale, reach the leg up, and then on the exhale, low lunge, step the left foot forward. Inhale for your standing splits, shift. Exhale to step the foot down. Inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, step back. Exhale to lower. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Again, take 5 full breaths when you arrive here. So flowing breath to movement can be very challenging. So allow your breath some time to reset. It's good to have some heat built here. We'll practice that sequence one more time, and I'll offer a slightly more challenging work with the breath through the transition between sides. Once you finish your last breath, inhale, bend your knees to look forward. Exhale, step or jump top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release back down. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. And then inhale again, arms up and overhead. Exhale, come all the way down to a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. On the exhale, step or jump back. Lower on that first exhale. Inhale for your back bend of choice. Exhale, downward dog. Then inhale, right leg up. Exhale, knee across the body. Inhale, leg up. Exhale, right knee to right. Inhale, leg up. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, standing splits. exhale, foot down, inhale, arms up, and then full exhale to go all the way down. So on that first exhale, lower through, inhale for your back bend, exhale for downward dog, and then again, inhale, left leg up, exhale, knee across the body, inhale, leg up, exhale, left knee to left. Try to keep the breath long. Inhale, leg up. On the exhale, step forward, low lunge. Inhale, standing splits. Exhale, foot down. Inhale, rise up with the arms. Exhale, bring your hands down. And then in that same exhale breath, see if you can lower through the chaturanga. That takes some practice, so just kind of think about that as a goal. And then again, once you arrive back in your downward dog, allow your breath to reset. Take 5 full long breaths here. You can move into the downward dog a little bit, but at this point, we want to have a little more of a static shape. So kind of finding your strong downward facing dog. When you're finished with your 5 breaths, take a little small walk towards the top of the mat, just like we practiced earlier. Take a few breaths in your forward fold, and then slowly rise all the way up to stand. We'll prepare for some standing balance. Begin with the hands at the heart, and start by lifting your right knee. So balancing on the left leg, point the right toes forward, and as you do this, scoop the belly in. So this is deceptively challenging. Don't worry about having the legs super high. You can also keep it bent. Once you take 5 breaths there, bend the knee, and then draw the knee back in line with the left. So going into hip extension and flexion here, you can play around with the range of motion a little bit. Once you finish 3 times, hold the knee bent and come into dancer's pose by taking the right hand to the right ankle. If possible, grab for the right ankle here and make sure that the right hip kind of stays even down towards the ground. Hold for 3 to 5 breaths, and then place the foot back down and just take a little bit of free movement here. Kind of whatever feels good. Allow your body to reset. Maybe roll out through your ankles a little bit if they're feeling tense. And then when you're ready, lift the left knee. Maybe extend the toes forward. So practice this, but again, it's hard. So try to scoop the belly forward and think about really getting your core active here. When you're ready, bend the left knee, draw the knee in line with the right, and take that full action 3 times. So just kind of practicing this movement through the hips. When you finish your 3rd time, hold the knee bent, and we'll transition to dancers. So again, grab for the ankle if possible. If not possible, that's totally fine. You're also welcome to use a strap here. Once you come into your dancers, hold again for about 3 to 5 breaths, and then place the foot down and reset, take a little bit of movement. When you're ready, sink your hips down for a yogi squat. So the feet should be pretty wide here and toes are turned out. Now we're gonna play around with some more arm balances, just starting with a crow pose. So introducing our first arm balance here. There's a lot of videos about how to come into a crow, so if you want to practice with those, you're welcome to do so, but just try it out. If you're holding, hold for 5 breaths. See if you can get that kind of hold in there. Once you finish your last breath, standing, balancing half moon with the right foot down and the left leg up. So stack the left hip over the right, keep the top leg super active, and you're welcome to use a block for your bottom hand here. On the exhale breath, transition to warrior 2. So practice that transition, and then when you arrive, reset, make sure the hips are even, and you're pressing through the pinky of the back foot. Take 5 full breaths here, long breaths. When you finish your last breath, we're going to transition to a side lunge with the left knee bent. So all toes point to the long edge of the mat for this. Take the twist with the left arm up, and you're welcome to take any extra action on that top arm that you'd like. When you finish about 5 breaths there, extended side angle with the right arm down, right knee bent, and left arm all the way overhead. The right elbow can also be propped up on the top of the right thigh for a little more support here. So take the version that works for you. Again, 5 breaths, and then on the inhale, transition to reverse warrior. Take 5 full breaths here. Think about creating space through the right side of the body. When you finish your last breath, we'll transition to triangle pose. So shorten the stance slightly, and then make sure that there's at least a small bend in the right knee for triangle pose here. The right hand can be either at the inside or outside edge of the right foot, and the left arm is up directly towards the ceiling or towards the sky. Inhale to rise back up to center, and then this is revolved triangle. So this one is a little bit more challenging. You want to square the hips, maybe take a wider stance to support the body here, and then the bottom hand, left hand, will be at the outside edge or inside edge of the right foot, just like before. When you're done with that, 5 breaths there, reset the feet. Inhale to reach the arms up, and come into an easy twist with the left hand down and the right arm up. Once you take about 3 breaths there, we'll transition to side plank with left arm down, right arm up. You can take any version of side plank here that works for you. On the exhale, chaturanga, maybe add an extra push-up as I'm adding here. Go through your vinyasa, your chaturanga, whatever feels good to you, and return to downward facing dog and take 5 full breaths to reset through your breath when you arrive. So some funky transitions here that we're playing around with. Take them at your own pace, but really working to hold each pose for about 5 breaths. Preparing again for another crow pose. Here is another prep that you can do balancing on the toes. And then when you're ready, find your crow pose, whatever variation you're working on, whatever you want to do here. See if you can find, if you're holding, see if you can find a hold for 5 breaths. And then when you finish your last breath, reset with the feet down, balancing half moon, this time with left leg down and right leg lifted. So a block under the left hand is really good here. If you have any sort of elevated surface that you can use, I recommend it. And let's keep this one super active, so press through the right heel. When you're ready, little transition to warrior 2. So step the back foot down and then adjust. Usually we need some adjusting here. Make sure hips are even, shoulders are over hips. Take 5 full breaths in your warrior 2 and prepare for that side lunge that's coming up next. So when you're ready, spin all toes to the long end of the mat, take the left hand down and reach the right arm up, and there's a deep bend in the right knee here. 5 full breaths here, and then when you're ready, transition to extended side angle with the left knee bent, left hand down or left elbow on thigh, and then right arm up and overhead. 5 full breaths here. Watch out for the neck too. Try to keep the chin tucked down towards your chest. And then on the next inhale, reverse warrior. Reach your left arm up, snake the right hand behind the low back if you want to take the half bind. If you don't want to take the bind or it doesn't feel good, right hand is down the right leg, just very gently. And then reset on an inhale breath, take a shorter stance, bump your hips back, and come into triangle pose. So reach the left hand down, right arm reaches up. Find the placement for your bottom hand that you would like. A block is also really nice here, and make sure there's at least a small bend in the left knee, the front leg. On your inhale, rise up through center, reset your legs, take a wider stance, and then revolved triangle, take the right hand to the outside edge of the foot. Reach the left arm up and overhead.
Morning.
Take 5 breaths here, work on squaring out the hips down towards the ground, slightly forward, and then reset, come back to center, reach the arms up on an inhale. Exhale, take your hands down to frame your left foot, and then inhale for easy twist, reach the left arm up, right arm is down on the ground. Now here comes the transition to side plank. So make sure you're secure on your right hand, and then see if you can slide the left leg, maybe on top of the right, maybe the leg is lifted, or you can support by stacking the left leg forward. When you're ready, chaturanga, maybe add the extra push-up, maybe single leg. That's all adaptable, it's up to you. We'll return back to downward facing dog, and when you get there, again, take 5 full breaths. And from downward dog, we're gonna come all the way onto the back. So you can transition that however you'd like, and then make your way onto the back. Take a few breaths when you get there, just a full body stretch, reach your arms up overhead, reach your legs away from you. And then when you're ready, begin to bring the legs into tabletop. We're gonna add in a little bit of core work here. Start with the legs in tabletop and then extend the right leg straight. Keep the left knee bent. Now the movement is center, twist, center, down. Extending that lifted leg when you lower your head is optional. So really take the movement how you want, but just keep it very slow and make sure to keep the elbows squeezing towards each other the entire time, even as you turn. So really keep those as the keys. We're gonna go for 8 on each side here. So try to keep a count, or you can just follow along with my count here. I'm doing 8 on each side. And again, that's adaptable. So however you'd want to adjust that, you're welcome to do so. After you finish 8 on the first side, take a bridge pose with both feet down and the arms up and overhead, just to mostly open up through the anterior wall of your body and kind of reset that space. Once you finish a few breaths there, we'll go to the other side here. So now I have right knee bent. Exhale to lift, twist, center, and then inhale to come down. So really try to keep that going. Keep the breath. If you want to make it more challenging, try to contact the leg with the elbows as I'm showing here, but that's super not necessary. A modification is here with the left knee bent and the foot down. In this modification, the right knee stays bent the whole time. So know that you can take this modification from the very beginning, or if you want, you can kind of added in as this movement gets more challenging. Keep the breath the same. Exhale when you lift up, inhale when you lower down. When you finish your 8 on that second side, again, come into a bridge pose, reach the arms up and overhead. Focus here on creating space through the front of the body, so you're welcome to take a little extra movement. When you finish a few breaths there, we'll come all the way back up to a forward fold. So if you want, you can kind of rock back and forth as I showed there. However you'd like to transition is fine. Now we're going to practice some more challenging arm balances. So just work this in the way that you can. Take whatever variations you want. When you're ready, we'll come into crow pose, or whatever your version of crow pose is. Take a few breaths, and then this is going to be a jump back to chaturanga. So shoulders go forward, legs go back at the same time, just to practice. On the inhale, three-legged dog, lift the right leg up as we've done before. Take the knee across the body, maybe come into an arm balance. Another option is to take the knee across and add a push-up. Here we have another arm balance with the knee out to the side. So taking that first sequence and just adding on. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Here, maybe add a handstand hop off of your right foot, just something to practice. And then land right back down, crescent lunge with right leg forward, left leg back. On the exhale, take the hands down, cycle through your chaturanga. Option to skip that entirely, of course, especially if the heart rate's high. On the next inhale, lift the left leg up, and we'll try same thing on the left side. So knee goes across, come into the arm balance there. Inhale to reach the leg up. Exhale, knee out to the side. Maybe take the arm balance here. So again, these are all optional. Really work these in the way that you want, and this might be a good place to stop the video and just kind of practice a little bit on your own. Again, handstand hop off of the left foot, just a little kick, and then land right back into crescent lunge. So that's a quick hop for the handstand. On your exhale, lower through chaturanga. Inhale for your back bend. Exhale, return back to downward dog and take a big breath here and start to smooth out your breath again in the downward dog for these 5 breaths. That sequence builds a lot of heat in the body. It's very challenging, so whatever version you're working on, just give yourself a little bit of a release. Now take the knees down, come into a seated position. You can do whatever you want here. I like to clasp the hands behind the back and get into a chest opener to kind of fill through the lungs. Take a few breaths here and just let your body reset. After a few breaths, come into tabletop, cycle through a little bit of cat and cow motion, and then we'll come into this modified side plank. So right leg goes straight behind you, kickstand the left foot behind you, reach the right arm up and take some big circular motions with the right arm. So really take that motion all the way through the chest and all the way through the back. It's not just coming from the shoulder joint. Now from here, we'll transition to three-legged dog with the left leg lifted. First, bend the left knee and draw some circles through the hip. So really try to keep this motion just coming from the left hip. Then step the left foot behind you. Let's practice flipping the dog here. So press your hips up towards the ceiling or the sky. Take some motion through the left arm. And then return back to your three-legged dog with the left leg lifted. From here, half pigeon. Draw the left knee forward. Take the knee out to the side and settle the hips down first. Now, if this does not feel good in your knee or in your hip, please come onto your back and do a supine figure 4 instead. This is a pretty extreme external rotation of the hip with a lot of kind of passive release on it. So it's not totally necessary to take this full version. If it feels good, hold for at least 5 full breaths and allow your body to kind of sink in and just relax a little bit more in this position. When you finish about 5 breaths, lift your chest back up, come back into your three-legged dog just for a breath, and then bring your knees back down, and we'll reset for the modified side plank on the other side. So to set up for that, the now left leg will slide back, reach the left arm up, and then take some big motions through the arm. So you can see this is coming all the way through the chest and through the back, so this is not isolated just to the shoulder. It's a movement for the entire sideline of the body. And from here, we're going to transition to a three-legged dog. I show the wrong side first. This is actually with the right leg lifted. So when you're, yeah, here I go. So now take some motion through the right hip. And again, we're working to flip the dog here. So that means that left hand will be your support. Take the right foot behind you, press your hips up, and then take some big motion with your right arm. And this isn't a big back bend. It's actually not super extreme back bend, so don't be too afraid of that. Try it out, and then return to your three-legged dog. On the exhale, draw the right knee forward and out to the side. Begin to settle in and set up for your half pigeon. First, lift the chest to make sure the hips are evenly squared down, And then when you're ready, begin to walk the hands forward and allow the chest to become a little more passively down towards the mat. Again, take 5 breaths here. Notice what kind of tenses up. Usually one side feels really different than the other. For me, this side is a lot more tense. So just kind of pay attention to that so that you're aware and know which side needs a little more attention here. Once you finish about 5 breaths, lift your chest up again, find your kind of reset, tuck the back toes, and then come into your 3-legged dog with the right leg lifted, or not. When you're ready, inhale, shift forward. This is the final chaturanga. So lower through the chaturanga, inhale for your back bend, exhale for downward dog. Take your time with that, really try to work with the breath and settle into your final downward facing dog with at least 3 breaths. From here, we're going to come back onto the back. So again, however you'd like to make that transition, I'm showing a little slide forward, which this mat is really good for. And then once you get onto your back, take the feet so that they're at the outer edges of the mat. So this is a little windshield wiper side to side with the knees, but it's important that the feet, for this variation, that the feet are separated and move slowly. So each time you dip the knees over to one side and over to the other side, it's almost like a twist. Try to have your upper body in an open chest position with the elbows out to the side. Arms can be straight or bent. Once you take a few of those on each side, extend the left leg straight, draw the right knee towards your chest. Now use your hands to draw the knee closer and kind of rock around side to side, both on your back here and with the right knee. You can take the right knee out to the side, kind of move around the leg a little bit. When you're ready with that, clasp the hands behind the back of the right leg and take a hamstring stretch. So the full cycle of this movement is bend the knee, then extend the leg straight, then point and flex your foot a few times. You know, it should feel different in the point versus the flex. So pay attention to that. Spend a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, this will come into a twist. So bend the right knee, guide the right knee across the body. And there's a little bit of an effort to restack the hips here. So left hip under the right knee. Here comes Arlo for a little bit of relief. A little bit of comic relief here. So allow your body to relax in this twist. I would say at least 5 breaths on each side. And again, these are all really adaptable, so really take the amount of breaths that feels good to you. Once you finish the 5 breaths, we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Draw the left knee towards your chest. Now, if you have tightness or trouble in the back, spend a little more time here rocking side to side. If you do have tightness going on in your back, you will probably feel a lot of sensation there. Otherwise, just take some nice movement through the hips, guide the left knee out to the side, and then when you're ready, you can move into the hamstring stretch. So for the hamstring stretch, clasp the hands behind the leg, extend the leg, point, flex the foot a few times. Do not worry about the leg being straight in this position. You can have as much of a bend in the knee as you need to. And then when you're ready, do that whole cycle 2 more times. So bend the leg, extend the leg, and then point and flex the foot. I would say about 3 times each time you get to the top, you can point and flex. And then from here, transition again to your supine twist. So hips are stacked, left knee goes across the body, right leg is straight, and then really try to get the shoulder blades down, both sides. So that means you can kind of come out of the twist a little bit. That's totally fine. Here's Arlo again. Now, once you're complete with the twist, we're going to try a few back bends. So we'll go 2 rounds here. First is bridge, and this one will be a little different than earlier, focusing on some more opening of the chest. So if it feels okay, you can clasp your hands behind your back. Make sure the feet are under the knees. For the second option, you can go into full wheel if it feels good to you. So set up with the hands framing the head first, and then I really recommend to come onto the toes as soon as you arrive here to create some more space in your spine. Hold that for a few breaths, whatever feels good. And then if you didn't want to take the wheel, that was a second bridge pose. After you complete both of your back bends, take a spinal release and begin to settle down towards your final Shavasana. So I'm only going to be here demonstrating for just a few breaths. I really encourage you to stay for longer. To set up, start with 5 timed breaths. So breathe in for 5 counts, hold for 3 counts, and then breathe out for 5 counts. Do that 5 full times to allow your mind to start to release, and you can remain in this position for as long as you'd like. You're also welcome to keep that breath going. so sweaty.